Space people from the future, no one knows this Mo-Yo-Ho song. Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and welcome back to another episode of... Bon, if you're watching right now, I just gave you your first bingo. It was Jacob singing. I'm sure you ticked it off already. Anyways, we're back. And yeah, I was struggling to pick something for today, particularly. Because on one hand, I was going to go back to Tree Pop and Trust Pop. And when I got there, I saw that the channel had some of the videos had been deleted. By the creator, Tree Pop herself, not by YouTube this time, fortunately. And so, but I saw that she was live, so I joined that stream for a bit, and then afterwards, thought, okay, well, the one thing that Josh requested was, Green Knight or Remember Jurassic Peak. I do something to do with that. Nope, Josh himself came in last second with a Jazz Pops request, which is another thing I was thinking of going back to, considering that we just did Ballet Pops, and I said we're going to continue with Jazz Pops, and so here we are in the season that apparently is all not necessarily downhill for here. We've climbed down the hill. It's all valley. It's all valley from here, according to Eli previously. If you don't remember, episode 3 sowed the seeds of decline, and then episode 4 carried on that trend, and according to Eli, it just stays at this level, which is interesting because today we have an episode all about space. And if there's another topic that I like aside from mermaids, which was last episode, it is space. Because we all know space is so cool, isn't that right, BB?
It so is. It so is. Okay, nerd talk here. How much do you know about like general space theories, right? Theories about the cosmos. Are you a big fan of that sphere?
I mean, I've definitely dabbled over the years.
Okay. So the multiverse, right? There's been so many different like incarnations of the multiverse theory, right?
Oh yeah.
One of my most favorite ones, just because I feel like it has some of the most substantial pieces of evidence, and it's also quite neat because of how mysterious it is. It's the like, have you heard of like the cyclic universe theory?
Not by that name, but I think I know what you're referring to.
So basically,
is it the idea that we've had that several different big bangs because the universe expands and contracts, and when it contracts a lot, it explodes again, and the whole process starts over?
basically, yeah, the end of the universe is also the next big bang, and we are the next of God knows how many of universes that could or could not have passed. I've actually that's one of those things I've actually almost wanted to bring up to you for like the Butterverse as well. Not because I want to go back, not because I want to go back to like the other universe, but because I really
you want us to kickstart a different one.
No, it's because I really like the idea of I don't know, maybe it's like a one-shot like comic or something just about general existentialism and really like thinking about, because that's one of those things that I find really fascinating about that theory, right? Because we don't know what that other universe was like, right? Was it this one but slightly different? Was it entirely different? Was it not even the same in the slightest, right? How long did it last? Was it like in like the anti version of it? There's so many different versions of how that could have gone, and I love the mystery of it. But it's also such a fascinating existential question as well. Of we believe we know of a second universe, but was it the second or is it the millionth? How many times have we gone through this? Have we ever gone through a cycle? How many times have we done this? Is anything worth it, right? And I really love the idea. Oh, it's such a fun idea.
We're all gonna contract and expand in several billion trillion years.
Well, because it depends on like your interpretation, right? Is this did we exist in that past universe? Is it that sort of deal, or is it something entirely different, right? if this is a situation of like almost like a universal reincarnation, right? Is it like how many times have we gone through the cycle? How many times have we been trying to perfect it? Is
Yeah,
anything
you said
different?
that already. Yeah, you explained that already. Anyway, this episode is going to have none of that. It's probably going to be mostly, if I had to guess, about space, the place, rather than any essential theories. Then again, I could be wrong. I guess we'll
You just get
have
like
to
a
wait and
whole
see.
monologue about a character just really having a like an existential crisis.
Yeah, one of the one of the pops is gonna have like a moment, sort of like Jessica and Rick and Morty season 5, where she experiences like so much being frozen in time that she realizes just how insignificant what she does is, and then it's like, I gotta leave and process all of this. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be away for like a season or two. Uh,
And this is how you get the next arc, Pop No More,
mhm.
which obviously is a parody of Spider-Man No More for those of you who don't care about the comics.
If they didn't care about the comics, then they're the ones who wouldn't. Okay, yeah. I see what you mean now. Okay. All right.
In fact, you're trying to mansplain me, Jacob, over here. Oh well, maybe it's. I know it's hard for you to understand, but man,
It's definitely very, yeah.
too, it's hard to
I can
understand how we're
I
still
grasp
sticking with these really plain designs.
I grasped the concept of space and the cyclical universe, and then that was what got me. Okay. Uh, but yeah, I mean, of course, I did mention in the last episode that, well, the last review, I should say, that each of the different pop groups does vary up the designs a little bit within themselves, within their own series, and Majesty herself reflects that. But most of the time, they don't tend to change within the series itself, with the exception of Disco Pops, because that's when Emily went all Emily on Johnny, and then insisted on the change. But that's the only example I can think of where the designs have changed during the actual narrative itself without any justification. Even the source material justified Majesty's rainbow conversion, but I forgot what they said at the time. Anyways,
we could still do it though. Like superheroes change outfits all the time. Give them their second incarnation. Give them their soft reboot. Give them their slightly armored version. Give them their new 52. Actually, new 52 is like a harder read. That's a whole. Well, you get the point though.
mm-hmm. Give them their 90s redesigns for no apparent reason.
Yeah, give them their Batman the new animated adventures.
Okay. But anyway, we're sticking with this for now. But they're going to space, so there might be something different. Anyways, without further ado, on with the review. Hello, ladies. What's the problem, Majesty? What's the sitch? Celeste has picked up activity in space. I'd be concerned if a spaceship didn't pick up activity in space. Wait, are we going to get spacesuits, though? If we don't have them, we'll not be able to do much. I mean, should even say what the activity was. It could be something that's coming this way to intercept once it enters.
Right. I like how they're like, hey, someone's about to come and you should prepare. They just jump straight to, hey, so when are you sending us off to space? You have any idea what the physical like complications are with being in space? By the way, it's not just as simple as getting a spacesuit. It's all hunky dory.
I feel like Ebony.
You're coming back and you're having other bodily issues.
I feel like Ebony Pop just really wanted to go to space, and as soon as the word came up, that the excuse was there, and so that was it. Honestly,
I'm just saying, there's a reason why spacemen are so jacked. It's like there's a lot that goes on in there with your body. You got to work out.
Well, lady. I imagine that their magical essences would probably counteract some of that. You know, considering how they're like partially, I would imagine they're partially invulnerable because they have to deal with like magical attacks. They probably would not have to deal with G-force, for example. But again, we'll see what Majesty responds to this.
Don't worry. I hope
I've
they're
done
vulnerable to muscle atrophy.
Potentially. And I've done some magic and you don't need spacesuits. Okay, thanks, Majesty. Let's go. Wait, hold on. Are they just gonna go into space without any directions? I mean, not for nothing, but space is big. You know, it's very big.
It sure is. It sure is, man.
What is
Thank
the quote
you,
from Hitchhiker's
Jacob.
Guide? What is
Space
the
is
quote from
big.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Let me just bring
Someone
that up
quote
on
that
screen.
one. Space is big. Jacob Butter, 2024.
Okay, from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, space, it says, is big, really big. You won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is. I mean, you may think it's a long way down the road to the chemist, but that's just peanuts to space. There you go. I think that sums it up pretty well. Thank you, Douglas Adams. By the way, KW, I haven't done a book talk on Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy yet. Please do so.
Oh, and also House of Leaves. Do a book talk on House of Leaves. I've been reading that one. It's so good. Oh, it's so good.
That was one of them. By the way, there's a joke in Dragon Ball Z Abridged where where it's in the Broly movie where King Kai is telling Goku that someone has blown up South Galaxy, and then Goku just immediately goes, "Okay, I'll go look for clues." Teleports away. Like, where is he going? He comes back. So apparently, I can't breathe in space. You're the salt of the earth, Goku.
You know, either this will be like Superman going to space, or it'll be like the kid with the afro going to space in Magic School Bus.
Which one had the afro? Tim? Anyway.
No, it's the one that always complains in the intro.
Oh, that's Arnold. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope they know that they can't decelerate. just throwing that one out there. I need Ghosty on this episode. You know what? I don't do this often where I like invite specific people, but
Or accelerate, might I add, actually. What's propelling them?
Well, I think they might have just actually, yeah, that's a good point. They teleported outside into space, right? So yeah, you know what? Good point. We are reviewing an episode about.
And also, I know I bring up skirt physics every time.
I'm in.
But this is a whole other low, man. You're in space. That is literally designed to like move around everything around your body. Again, part of the reason why you have to wear like spacesuits.
Well, remember, their Majesty did some magic on them, so, you know, their entire bodies won't explode from the lack of air pressure on, you know.
Okay, but did they do magic on their skirts to make sure they obey Earth's like gravitational pull?
I'm gonna say yes to that on the grounds that the skirts themselves are part of the magical outfits they transform into.
Okay, fair enough. Where did you guys come from?
They're like emerging and also slowing down, so they are decelerating, I guess. And accelerating, okay.
How are you guys doing this? This isn't how physics work, man. I like how we started this. I like we prefaced all this saying, hey, you like space? Yeah, I like space. You like space? Yeah, I like space. And now here we are talking about the physics here. Guys, okay. This isn't how this works. Space. Okay.
To quote Goku again, space is a vacuum.
Yeah, so, like, if you want to get technical, space, yeah, I guess space has elements of a gravity and an atmosphere, only because other planets within space have it. But unless you're right next door to one of them that might have an atmosphere, none of this works. Not an inch of this works.
Anyway. Well, this kind of feels weird just floating around here. How did you
This should
stop?
not be the only thing that feels weird, man.
I know, right? Where's the villain? How are we
The-
talking?
the-
How is the sound traveling? That one I'm gonna talk to Magic as well. I'm just gonna. The answer to everything is Magic. Is Aiden's worst nightmare. I can only see you guys, and I assume the stars as well.
and I'm assuming things like their mouths just won't freeze, I guess, also because of magic.
Yes, they have. One of the magic these spells was homeostasis. Yeah.
Because even if you assume the air pressure and stuff isn't gonna reach them, the fact that they're even like talking and stuff, that's still getting in, you know.
Hmm. I suppose
And
as
I'll
well.
have you know, like a vacuum, it sucks quick.
Mhm.
Like it's not a slow process getting that freezing temp in there.
I guess to go back to Arnold, there was that one time that he took off his space helmet like an
That's
idiot.
why I said it's either gonna be like the like Superman or the one episode of Magic School Bus with the Afro kid, right? Like, there's two ways this one could have gone. They could have went up there, and Majesty would be sitting here like, "Hey, it's taking them a while. Where are they?"
Yeah. Oh, there they are. Oh, there they are. They're flying. They're going right past me.
They're
Yeah.
not moving a ton. Starts using the earpiece. Hey guys, you guys there?
She didn't give
Silence
them an
because they're
earpiece,
just
they just
frozen.
Anyway, I suppose it's worse than what happened in Miraculous, where it's because they have magical powers to get a spacesuit and bail to fly around space. What? It is because they have magical powers to get a spacesuit and bail to fly around in space in Miraculous.
Well, see, Superman vaguely works because partly because he's an alien, but also because his powers are like directly linked with the cosmos. Like a detail that people tend to forget, right? He's not just that all powerful everywhere, right? The red sun like increases his strength.
Hmm.
So like he's direct like you know, and that and also because he's like super speed, so it's kind of implied that like his speed is already gonna be a little bit more you're gonna have to like believe a little bit harder that you can just kind of disobey those sort of things. He
You
has
will believe a man can fly.
like yeah, I mean like he has logic there that's not really sound, but within the confines of that universe, you can believe it well enough. This you can't believe well enough. I don't like this. This doesn't work.
Yeah, it also also to go back to Miraculous, yeah, it does seem like KW is saying that they have magical powers, so they're able to, like is like the case in Miraculous, I guess. Although I remember there's another episode where they actually take they take a train into space. That in that one you just kind of have to say this thing would explode immediately, but you know it's the whole thing is akumatized. I guess you know the
Yeah, it's powered by
all magic.
electricity, not gas. That's fine.
I was more thinking to do with like the lack of air pressure again, but
God,
yeah.
what does happen if gas gets into space? Well, okay, I guess gas is obviously all over space, but like, what if like the gas that we mess with goes into space? Like what if like what does that
I
do?
imagine it would just spread and then never coalesce again until the inevitable constriction of the universe and whatever. By that point, it won't matter.
That's fair. Hey, you know, we could pollute our entire universe, but thankfully, and hear me out here, we will die before it happens.
Hmm.
I hope
I'm
that puts your mind at ease.
I'm frankly shocked that the people have not invested into like waste disposal in space to that degree. Not saying they should. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet,
I will
considering
say,
how much
yeah,
we dump into the ocean.
I will say, just because of the fact that it's expanding, like, obviously at a point, we would probably get consequences, but if somehow we just destroy our ecosystem even more than it already is, and it's kind of still at an all, well, we've kind of gotten better because the um, one of the layers is getting better. I think it's like the biosphere. I don't remember. Ozone layer. That's right. The ozone layer is the one.
Ozone layer. Yeah, the one that everyone was talking about. The hole in the ozone layer. It's actually shrinking, which is incredible.
We actually are making progress, guys. If we just keep going this way, we can, save the Earth. That'd be great, right? Do you want another generation? Anyways, assuming, of course, right? We go back to like the peak human interference, right, of the ecosystem. It's just obliterated. Admittedly, going to space is a logical decision. I agree with you. I'm not totally. Why hasn't anyone brought this up before? You would think if the presidents, I guess I'm thinking.
Oh my gosh! I just had an idea for the future. You know, Garbage Island, right?
Uh-huh.
And you know how Disney adapted the story Treasure Island into Treasure Planet?
Yep.
You see where I'm going with this, right?
Yes. Yes, I
for
do.
a story, for fictional purposes, I'm not saying make a Garbage Planet. I'm saying.
No, I'm also saying let's not take
planet.
the easy. I'm also not saying let's take the easy way out and just pollute the universe as a whole, right? But I am saying I'm kind of surprised that the presidents, right? Again, I'm thinking a very American mindset
the
here.
waste disposal off far enough, then it would just like orbit around our own planet and we'll just have like a whole ring of garbage. But
It's the Saturn's ring, except it's just trash. So, but like I'm surprised world leaders in general have upon being presented this option. I'm surprised no one's been like, what a good idea. Who needs to save our planet when we can just eject it?
Mm-hmm. Well, and speaking of trash, here is Ghosty to trash on the science in here.
Hello, I'm the only one here who can do actual logical science. Also, don't worry, I'm just...
What do you mean? Jacob and I have been talking pretty soundly this whole time. Well, minus the bit where we're talking theoretically if we just polluted the entire universe.
Except the Garbage Planet, we have been using very sound logic throughout this video.
Every time I hear Trash Planet, I can't help but to think of Futurama.
Oh, was that a thing?
They ejected all the trash into space, and then it was starting to orbit back.
See, I think of like the just random dump sites in Star Wars, because those are always like mountain size,
I mean, yeah, they kind of have to be. Yeah, the Empire is not exactly energy efficient, I suppose.
If you actually look at the Empire in Star Wars, it is the #1 eco-terrorist state.
No wonder the rebels are mad. Okay,
if you
anyway.
Look at the way they deal with their trash, even filled with the life forms it is horrendous. They collect all of the trash they generate and just shoot it out the airlock.
Unless it's a kyber crystal. They use those out the wazoo, man. Hey, do you know,
I can't imagine they would become waste in the first place then.
Yeah, they use like a gigantic kyber crystal, at least in Legends. I don't remember what they use in canon, but they use it in
That's no moon. That's a pile of garbage.
That's the thing. Like, they actually just use like an oversized kyber crystal to power the Death Star. That's what the laser is. It's just siphoning the energy of a kyber crystal.
Yeah, so why would they get rid of that? It's kind of like saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna throw coal in the trash." Like, who would?
Well, no, because they aren't produced. Like, they have to still go get it, right? They have to mine it, and they're probably taking it from. They're probably also taking it from people, or they're using recycling bins. I like to imagine nabbing just random kyber crystals. There's got to be times, right, where it would be considered just recycled waste.
I mean, if it works like nuclear power, then I suppose you could say it would become waste at some point. I'm not sure if it does though. Who knows? Maybe they're just infused with the Force and therefore have.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't know. You could make an argument, I guess, for it being nuclear powered, but also That's what the Kyber crystals are. One of those things that get touched a lot more by like the mysticism of the Star Wars universe, where it's like, oh yeah, the Force gods infused parts of the planet with like an incredible amount of like energy or whatever.
Smithers, who is that node well siphoning our kyber crystals? That's Darth Vader, sir. Darth Vader.
Be careful, he might have an entire comic issue where he bleeds it dry. That is a thing he did at one point.
It just occurred to me that if The Simpsons ever do another Star Wars parody, then Mr. Burns is probably going to be Palpatine and Smithers would be a Darth Vader.
Man.
By the way, might I say that I'm very unhappy, like, Uncle Palpy survived the vacuum of space.
Yeah, it is weird that somehow he returned.
It is a plot point that was slapped together last minute, because if you look back at the actual previous plots of the movie, it was so much better, because the main character was a villain.
KW, the Force gods are not new. They have been around since they have been since around the inception of Star Wars. The very first Star Wars media references deities of some kind.
Yes, there
well,
are
references
Force
the Force
gods.
as a mystical energy. I'm not sure if references like the god, like gods themselves.
No, there's a reference to it basically like the Bible of the Star Wars universe, like the big thing, as the Journal of the Wills, I want to say is what it's called.
Okay.
And the Wills is either, I don't remember if that's the species of god or the people that worship those gods. It's been a while, but yeah, the divinity has always been a pretty big aspect to Star Wars.
Well, I mean, a lot of people have, in the census, ever since Star Wars came out, the census is getting more and more people writing their religion down as Jedi. So, yeah, very much so.
Religion?
Okay.
Jedi.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that is what people have been doing for like 50 years. Okay, back to this video.
Okay, so for one, they're out in space without any sort of protective equipment.
Yeah, we already
we went over that. We went over that. Majesty did some magic on them, so they are protected in that way. I suppose they're like Frieza.
I love and hate magic. That's like someone who is writing a series with a pretty intensive magic system.
I just said that this video would be Aiden's worst nightmare because the answer to every question is magic.
This is the kind of magic that I would agree with Aiden is kind of stupid. Because this is the kind that's like, just fix it with the magic excuse. There's no real logic to it necessarily.
Actually,
I would complain, but magic has been...
There is a term for that. There are hard and soft magic systems.
I know. I talked to Aiden about this streams ago. I'm aware of this.
The magic system in the pops is stupidly soft. It is the
I'm not an audience surrogate. Stop talking to me like one.
The magic system in the Pop series is a marshmallow.
The audience can do research and figure it out themselves. I'm not the surrogate.
Actually, no, Jacob. At least marshmallows are pseudo-firm when you take them out of the package.
Oh, okay. Then it's...
I don't know what I'm doing.
It also depends on how old they are.
Yeah, that also depends. They're like 50-year-old marshmallows.
They're gonna be a little bit warmer, not warmer. God, harder.
Okay.
Not like crunchy, but just a bit more firm.
The
marshmallows. What interesting concept.
The Pop's magic system is the vanilla pudding of magic systems.
There we go. Is that why Glossaric wants to be fed pudding all the time in Star vs. the Forces of Evil? Because it has the softest magic.
He wants the softest magic system.
Eat me pudding and the magic system will soften even more. Okay, now I have a solution for you. Anyway, all the stars look so pretty, though. My theory so far is that because Ebony Pop was immediately, like, even without hearing what the activity in space that Magic Detective consisted of, just immediately said, "Oh, okay, we're going to space then. So, what should we do? We need spacesuits and stuff."
I will say,
And
yeah,
now
there's
saying
also
this, and marveling at the stars. I have a theory that Ebony Pop, who may I remind people is the author's self-insert character, just really, really likes space, and that's why we have this episode. And that's why it exists.
I certainly can't tell because I'm watching this, and this doesn't feel like it's written by someone who really, really likes space.
Okay, likes the
I
idea
also
of
like
space,
space.
maybe.
In the words of Markiplier, if there was a thing to where human beings could go into space and had a 100% chance of dying by death by space, I would be first in line.
Space is so cool.
I will say that adds a whole other element to because that's like re-sung in space and with Markiplier, where like one of the big things is just the repeated death of the multiverse.
I mean, I remember it being the theme song of In Space with Markiplier as well. The title card comes in, you just hear like. Anyway.
That's like kind of a motif, though. They have like the entire like song in one bit, though.
Mm-hmm. And my cousin once thought that Shmo Yoho were obsolete as a channel. No way.
No, they just haven't posted in a while.
Oh,
I
well,
may
no,
only know
nowadays,
them.
when my cousin said that, it was like only a few years ago, and it was like, "What are you talking about? They've been, they are." It was before the It's Muffin Time song really caught on. So
I will
was
say
that middle
I
school?
really only know about Shmo Yoho because of Markiplier and Jacksepticeye.
Oh, I knew about them like way before that. In fact, the song I sang at the beginning of this, the Space People from the Future, that is technically the first video that is on their channel. Just one of the songs that no one knows about. It's one that just done by Michael Gregory and no one else. I once got like 3 separate comment replies, one from the Shmoyoho channel, one from the Gregory brothers, and one from Andrew Rose Gregory, all in like a thread, because I was one of the first to comment on this completely random song that they did, like not one of the big ones or anything. Just so yeah, I was running that for ages. Not debating to say anything about it. I feel like Magic should always have a system. I mean, interesting since they've given the video that you sent me recently.
Like, there are benefits to having a softer magic system as long as it's done well.
Yeah, just lucky, I suppose.
Yeah,
and like, maybe you can disagree with me all we want, but things like
Lord of the Rings, I guess, is the example
Yeah.
of the video Kirby sent me. I just said Miyazaki because I remember watching a video about that.
Yeah, the soft magic system that I always think too, that I always use an example that's quite fun is Star Wars. Ironically enough, we mentioned that one earlier, but yeah, because I said like Star Wars just kind of creates random powers that the Force can do. Why? It's cool and it's convenient for the plot.
Yeah, I mean. And of course, like a lot of Star Wars media is, main character learning about the Force anyway. So if they're learning about it, you kind of think, oh yes, well, there you go. This is a thing, I guess.
Yeah. Or if like mediums, right? Like the Force jump is like a well-established part of the entire universe now. But that was like one of those things that originated through video games as like, hey, here's how our double jump system works, right? Like,
oh, okay.
I hate how Ebony Pop is talking and they all have the same blank, vacant expression on their faces.
Yeah, they're not pleased with what we're talking about, except for
they do not think space is cool.
No.
Like,
it was only Ebony who was excited about
I can see the fact that Earth Pop can, is not happy being here because Earth Pop is Earth Pop, and
that's because Earth Pop is looking at Earth and realizing we've made grave mistakes.
Yeah.
Earth Pop is looking at it on a massive scale.
Oh god, how much garbage is orbiting around this place? Jeez.
Right? It's like, oh, we're destroying ourselves. I can feel my life source sapping the more I look out.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
What's that brown cloud that's emerged? Oh, it's pollution. Yeah.
Why does the Earth look slightly more grey from this distance? Oh, it's pollution.
Oh, hey, is that a river I just saw dry up?
Just in real time to go.
Look, man, all I'm saying, by the way, if anyone's wondering in chat, the river gods in Greek mythology are not happy right now in the Butterverse. That's all I'm saying, man.
They're not happy in
sad.
Percy Jackson either.
they are not in a well state.
I don't think there's been a single river god in a Rick Riordan book that hasn't started off in a bad mood.
Pretty much every river god that I've looked at for Greek mythology and then looking at the Butterverse version is like, well, logically speaking, as powerful as they seem in here, they are going to be like skinny, dying twigs whenever we see them. They will be begging for mortality.
You know, and I guess just since you brought up the Butterverse, I will just say to siphon this back, the Butterverse magic system is probably relatively soft. Not entirely, because there are some rules that we've established in different series, but because there's like various different styles of magic, they're not, and then they're not all as defined as each other. I guess overall, I'd say we're fairly soft as well.
Yeah, it's a soft magic system only because there is
Academy only has 2 episodes so far.
well, it's only because we have like an overarching, like we have the magic system, but the magic system is comprised of multiple like subcategories of magic systems that are separated by cultures, by source, by knowledge, and
this is where we get into the hard aspect of that magic system. But then again, until we define all those things, until Aiden hounds us down enough, it's probably gonna stay the way that it is.
Or until I get to that one project I mentioned like ages ago, with that like
post-more Alphawitch Academy. You know what? A lot of things can happen, but not right now.
Yeah.
And then there's just me sitting over here with my hard magic system.
I mean, again,
kill me.
There aren't. I was gonna say there's nothing wrong with them, but clearly for your mental health, I guess there is.
Like, it's not that I accidentally made it hard because I established the source of magic, all of the rules of magic, and all of the rules for the 2 magic systems. Does potions and alchemy technically count as a secondary system to regular magic, or are they?
It depends on how they're made, I would argue. But
I think that was probably rhetorical because this is Ghosty's method of potions and alchemy. So,
like, I'm also potions and alchemy also come with their own magical ailments if you do it wrong and don't wear the proper equipment.
I mean, that sounds like food poisoning to me, so it's the same principle, just on a much grander scale.
It's very much like, what's some good examples without just deeply spoiling something?
I guess, Phoenix Felicius, disaster should you get it wrong.
Like, I'm just gonna say this now. Making a love potion without wearing the correct equipment can lead to a disease called mermaid disease, or mermaid infection, which is a perpetual state of mutual pining.
Okay. I guess for the Butterverse, we kind of solved that.
That explains Miraculous Ladybug.
For the Butterverse, we contradicted ourselves enough that eventually we sat down and were like, okay, we need to decide on some like ground rules here to like somehow fix this mess. And we did eventually, for the most part. But for us, we don't have like a singular source, right? Like, for instance, there's like some types of magic that are like hard coded to like the Greek gods, right? That you can't really use this ability without their aid or without belief in them or whatever, right? Or without their training. And then you have other types which are a little bit closer to like realer beliefs of magic, or like more modern beliefs of magic, where it's like it's not quite as like OP. It's not like what you get in like a fantasy story or anything necessarily, but it's there, and it's not necessary. It's more coded to like knowledge and skill than it is like, hey, Zeus just gave me the ability to do this, right?
So to put it in D&D terms, we have paladins, we have sorcerers, we have wizards.
We do.
There you go. I'm learning. KW says, for me, the only thing that should have a cost is like when using evil or dark magic. Like when you use simple magic, why does it need a system? Probably because that doesn't seem fairly balanced to me. Like if only evil magic has a consequence to it, that kind of takes things a little bit away from that idea, right?
Like for Monster Compendium, I purposefully made all magic sit in the gray morality spectrum. You can use magic. It just depends on what you can use magic for, and all magic has consequences and side effects. Yeah,
I think this is going to be a very risky example, but again, it's the thing that I am currently watching on Disney Plus, so it's in my head. In Miraculous Ladybug, imagine if the situation where if they use the Lucky Charm or the Cataclysm or anything and it didn't drain their powers and give them a time limit, wouldn't that just lower the stakes significantly if they could just do that over and over again or something?
Oh, Bon just brought up a good point. Sorry, guys. Also, Jacob, loving the thumbnail. I did even process that the screen we're at right now, that we've been at, is just the thumbnail you chose. So we just have been stuck at the thumbnail this whole time, which is kind of hilarious.
Well, I mean, there is one obvious difference between the thumbnail, of course, which is the fact
that you are like, that you exist, and also
I have space gear.
Jacob is actually wearing the proper equipment. Good job.
I didn't have time to make myself a full spacesuit. So I just
Jacob wasn't given Majesty's magic.
Like at least
in my head.
Give them bubbles around their heads to give some indication that they're using magic, because looking at this is just making me mad.
That is a fair point. It might just have to be invisible necessarily. You could, if anything, do that. Or if that was a bit of a complicated visual at the time, potentially modify the outlines a bit to show that they're encased in some sort of aura of some kind. That would have probably worked.
Like even then, there are effects in Gacha. There is something in Gacha itself to give, the skin a different color.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, do something.
That's true. Yeah, the effect shading. Yeah, that's true.
Do something, please.
Yeah. All the stars look so pretty, though.
Yes. Radiation. I do.
Wow, we just ruined stargazing for everyone.
Oh. Like...
Oh, please tell me they do the moonwalk gag. Is that a good joke now that we know, like, the Michael Jet?
That's been common knowledge for like 20 years. Anyway, I've always wanted to go on a spacewalk. And you can
though, it's iconic.
And you can see so much more out here than on the Earth.
Who's gonna tell him?
Oh, okay. And tell who? Oh, and this is where the chat descends into confusion. All right. I'm not going to say anything. You lot sort that out.
Yeah, it sure is breathtaking.
Yeah.
It sure is. Uh-huh.
Like, they're out in the vacuum of space. They're not wearing any suits because magic. I hate it. I'm just looking at this and it's like, girl, you should not be standing in space. Get back on Earth where you belong, girly pops.
I think the reason that Ebony Pop is standing right now is because there isn't a pose in the floating sections that.
No, like I mean standing in general. Like they should not just be floating in space. Please get back on the ground, girly pops. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, did we tell you before that they came to a complete stop, somehow decelerating before they stood here?
No, that's not possible in space.
Yup.
There is no friction out here.
Yup.
I'm also gonna say that I guess whatever magic they would have to affect, that'd be an aura around all of them, mostly because otherwise they can't hear what Ebony Pop is saying right now.
Yeah, they can hear each other, they can speak, they can breathe, they can not use spacesuits, and presumably won't come back with a horrible muscle atrophy and various side effects that will lead to eventual death. They can accelerate, they can decelerate.
Then
They
why-
can do all kinds of things in space.
Then why did you not have this episode in an observatory or a similar destination? Why did it have to be in space?
Because
Well,
space
okay.
is cool.
Yeah, supposedly the creator's really into space, but what I say is this isn't written. This doesn't feel like it's written by someone who's really into space.
Like, this feels like someone who's wanted to go to space but doesn't know what going to space entails.
Which
Space-
is kind of indicative of Ebony Pop in this situation. Again,
Their
the author's
knowledge-
self-insert.
This feels like the creator of this series said space is when not Earth.
Space is when not Earth.
And that is as far as their knowledge goes.
Bond, please make that a quote. Space is when not Earth. Anyway, and up there is Orion, which means that's serious.
Tell you what's not serious. This episode. But
Wow. And if that's serious, then that's Taurus. That feels like a more obvious joke that you could make in here.
Ah, yes.
There we
I'm
go.
stuck. It's all coming back to me.
No, I was thinking, Taurus because the logic is bull. That was anyway.
The logic is full.
So then that means that's Karina, Vela, and Puppis, which are the names of the Star Tribe family, if people don't remember. Oh, okay, there we go. See, that's the joke. I foreshadowed the joke again. What, Karina and Puppis up there? We must stop them. Or rescue them. They could be like floating away with no possible hope of returning.
In which case, we win. Yay!
Uh-huh.
no,
Oh, no,
puppeteer. That's not what. No. No.
On space air.
It doesn't exist. They aren't choking. They're suffocating.
I was gonna say, who's
There is
gonna
a
tell them?
difference.
I was about to say, space is a vacuum, not
The
a.
closest air you're getting from space is if you're next to a planet or a star or something that happens to have a working atmosphere. That is the closest you're getting. This space air you're talking about is the freezing void that will like turn your heart to actual stone as it crumbles by the pressure.
Under pressure, pushing down on me, pushing down on you.
Aiden is here. I said it in the butter bunch. That's my fault. I broke the rules again.
You broke the rules on accident. Also, hello, Jay. Oh, hello, Aiden. By the way, to just say it right now, they're all in the void vacuum of space. All of them have brown eyes, except for Ebony, who has blue eyes. She is the singular variant because she is the author's self-insert.
It's my totally unique OC Dewdrop Starshine.
Vaughn made a pretty good
the most
pun.
powerful pony.
Yeah, I know. Let's not acknowledge the pun.
No, I want to acknowledge the pun. Let's look at Bond's most recent pun.
No, I
Well,
hate.
that's the same pun as before. You used down to earth already, Bon.
Oh,
You're 2 puns and you've already run out of material. That's not good. Anyway, there is space in the self-insert sequence to love space. There we go. That's the summary for you, Aiden.
KW, we didn't. We didn't mean. We didn't. He sent the link in the Butter Bunch group chat, which because I'm there, but I'm not the only one there.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
This was a happy accident.
I don't think she's actually mad. I think she's just, being hyperbolic. Anyway, yeah, the constellation's not them. Ebony, seriously, you had me scared for a moment there.
That should not be what scares you. You are in the vacuum of space.
Yeah. Also, they don't know what they're doing here yet. They've just said there was activity in space.
Oh yeah, that's true. They just got launched into space and haven't got anything out. What if Majesty's been talking this whole time, but because the frequency just isn't able to reach space, they just will never know what they're doing. They're just stuck there, and they will never come home. Even if they somehow survive all this, the best they got is swim into Earth, and who knows how far away they are from there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, assumably, since Ebony Pop is pointing out the constellations that are viewable from Earth typically, they are relatively close to the planet, but not close enough to be
I think the Earth is actually also... The Earth is also beneath them, by the way.
By how much, though? By, like, how far are they from the Earth?
Well, enough to not be affected by its gravitational pull, that's for sure.
Well, let's hope they're not.
Yeah, that's a good point. They could be falling and descending, and they would never know because they would not have any feeling or sensation they were falling.
Oh no, that's not how breathing works. We breathe through more of our no. We breathe through mouth.
We also breathe.
Do you know why the phrase mouth breather exists? Because you can breathe through your mouth.
Also,
it's meant to represent like the piggish nature of bullies and stuff. But in reality, people just actually breathe through them.
Also, here is a fun fact. People breathe through their skin. Our skin is another breathing implement.
Yeah.
Oh,
tiny little holes.
There's
how many holes you have in your body? You can list a couple hundred.
Yeah, there's an interview with Akira Toriyama, where he was finally asked about how Krillin breathes if he canonically has no nose, and he actually gave the response that Krillin breathes through his skin. So yeah.
We can.
Okay, mic is working. Hello.
Hi.
Headphones.
In that case, we can assume that Krillin's skin is very porous.
Probably.
I'm not gonna think about that.
Also, by the way, I didn't know the Pops go into space. I didn't know they go into space. I know they have a spaceship, but I didn't think they actually.
Do they have a spaceship?
We just learned this today. It seems that they can because, well, we've gone into it before. We're not going to repeat ourselves too much. Don't you mean seriously?
I already made that joke.
That's how you do it. That is how you do it.
Is that
Get some more material. I made that joke first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
It's serious as a star.
Yeah.
Anyway, and sorry if I scared you. I can't help doing that sometimes. Guys, can we focus and stop the puns? Yes. We need to catch this person. Wait, you don't know if it's a person. All you heard was there was some activity. That could mean literally anything. That could mean that.
Yeah, you have to go stop it. Elder to God that just entered the
new
void.
Supernova or singularity has formed. What activity are we talking?
No, wait, it's a Fantastic Four. There's like a solar storm about to hit you guys and giving you
coming in, and things are about to be real bad.
Yeah, either one of those could be, but in the case of Galactus, that would be an entity, I suppose. In the case of,
I mean, there actually are like storms on the sun. I'm pretty sure. Like sometimes the sun kind of flares up and has like mini storms nearby.
It does. Oh, yeah. There's storms on a few different areas, though. They are in none of those areas, though. Presumably.
Yeah. Otherwise, Majesty would have sent them to that location, right? I said,
could they survive the sun?
On the sun or on Jupiter or wherever. But
shoot, I don't know.
Wait. Question: temperature. Can they handle being in different temperatures? Because it's either A, they're too close to the sun, and it's going to be a lot hotter and a lot more radiation is going to be coming their way, or B, they're too far away from the sun and they're in a freezing temperatures, therefore they're be freezing.
I made this joke earlier about the homeostasis spell, which is not an actual thing, but it's what I called it. But actually, I do think it kind of holds some weight. Majesty put a spell on them so they wouldn't need to use like any space gear or something, and so that their functions could work as normal. I assume that also includes thermoregulation.
Yeah, because also their outfits aren't giving ability to be in space away from the sun.
They are.
Yeah, those outfits are totally appropriate.
I have mentioned all of these things.
Yeah,
it's giving Emerald Seeker of Kim's outfit. Listen,
I think Ghosty just read the pun from Bon.
Okay.
Someone needs to help these other pawns.
Bro, Ghosty had that.
Spaced out.
Speaking of Marvel, Ghosty had that look like she was Professor Xavier.
By the way, Chuckles canonically goes to space at one point in another Evantress series. Haven't got that far yet, but he calls himself the Space Clown.
Chuckles is a space warlord in another campaign.
There you go.
Wait, is that an alternate universe or the same Chuckles?
It's the same Chuckles reborn, yeah. I'll slay you. Many have tried. Gideon succeeded.
You scream. I
scream. You scream.
We all scream. At the terrible house fire.
The family reunion.
That is my favorite Chuckles quote. Anyway.
Listen, Chuckles is the best.
Why do I get this strange feeling that this is a trap? Oh,
this isn't a trap. This was a direct assassination attempt by Majesty.
No, you see, Majesty finally decided that she has made too many Pops teams. Too many of them exist, so she must find a way to kill them off.
That would explain this. This is like around the same rough time as. Oh wait, no, it's not. Never mind. I was going to say the same time as Blues Pops. I think of Ballet Pops. Yeah, this is after Blues Pops, so I guess she got bored of.
We love the 2-year-old Pop.
So that's been retconned.
I know, but it's just so funny to think about. Oh yeah, she's 2 years old.
You rage pun war me about whether intentional or not. I will keep punning. I'm still punning better than I ever did.
Well, I mean, I guess you guys could say you deserve some punishment.
Like a clown in space.
Oh, it's giving Killer Clowns of Outer Space.
I mean, that is essentially Chuckles. There's gonna be 8 in this episode. You would think so.
What do you mean, Earth? Well, the planet you live on.
That's her name, Earth Pop.
Oh.
Remember last time we got teleported, and I just think this is a trap. You teleported yourselves this time. Don't give me that. Now you mention it, something does feel off. Oh, you mean the fact that you have no idea?
You're in space?
Okay, that one's good. This one I'll give it to you, Bon. This one's good.
I can listen, Bon. I can solar you.
What?
Solar. I can solo you. I can solar you. Listen.
Okay. All right then.
I love puns. I love.
I'm a comedy. I'm a comedian. A comet medium.
Yeah, I'm afraid, much like some planets, Bond's pun ability has dwarfed your own. Anyway, I have a strange thing about this.
I'm gonna commit a war crime.
Oh.
I'm gonna commit several war crimes. Yeah. Another Chuckles quote.
No one saw the guy flying over you?
Well, again, how would they sense that? They have no sense that there's no like particles to like fill the back of their head like airbenders do.
Like
there's
even then,
no sound.
Earth Pop is mentioning, was that an asteroid? As if she just felt something pass by her, which is physically impossible.
Yeah, you know I was gonna say the expression in space, no one can hear you scream. Space is the perfect place for jump scares.
highly doubt it. Sassy air flip.
I don't know, but I'm teleporting out of here.
Yeah. Well, they're not grabbing each other yet. Oh
Well,
no.
they don't need to. They don't have to all go at the same time.
No.
Oh
no,
no, I can't teleport. I was good at my best Wally Franks impression.
Yep, they're dead.
Oh no, I can't teleport. Why?
That's a fair question, considering that once again they
Majesty
teleport themselves.
deactivated their powers. This is an assassination.
Yeah, exactly.
This was the real spell. It's like that one Kodoko episode where like the fake Franz Hopper gives them upgrades to their powers only to immediately take them away and make it so they can't return.
Watch out.
Oh
Oh,
no,
there's
we're in
Sonic
force
rings.
field. You're probably better off in those, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's where you'll stay. What?
Good.
I said that's where you'll stay. They can't hear him because he's not fed by the same magic aura as they are. So he's just like going like,
How are you surviving? Even if we magicked away all the pops, how are you alive?
He's like Frieza, I guess.
Frieza's an alien, dude. He's not an alien.
I mean, he could be.
He's not an alien, to my knowledge.
Also, yes, Planet Pops is a great idea, Ghost Kitty. I mean,
that's
that does
just
kind of
Sailor
sound like
Moon.
Sailor Moon. Yeah.
That's just Sailor Moon.
No, Bon. We've mentioned this one like 5 times. Sound does not travel in space.
Yeah, in space, no one can hear you scream because sound does not travel.
If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? And the answer is yes, it does make a sound.
Yeah, but
just no one hears it.
Yeah,
unless it's in space, in which case, no, it definitely didn't make a sound.
And it also probably wouldn't fall.
Yeah, it floats. If a tree floats in space, and no one...
If a tree fell in space, would it make a sound? No, it wouldn't. That's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there a tree falling in space? That's also
Why is there a
not
tree in space?
We have it. I'll tell you right now. If we put gravity into space, we have a much bigger issue to deal with.
Listen, that's
because what that means is all those stars and stuff, they're all crashing down.
Yeah, well
you know, no, that's gonna be
America. They aren't as small as they look
here's
in
the
the
thing.
night
That's
sky.
gonna be America eventually, because we all know us Americans love to colonize things. So why don't we colonize all of space by giving it gravity?
That wouldn't necessarily make you claim it. That would
the
just
gravity.
Aiden, putting gravity somewhere doesn't not mean that you colonized it or that you own the thing. You just introduced
yeah,
gravity.
But America would do that just to colonize it.
Gravity is just the space equivalent of.
I mean,
roads.
wasn't it the US that invented the site like star.com, whatever the way you could like name a star and legally own it?
Yeah, but that's stupid.
Well, I mean, if anything, that counts more than adding random bits of gravity. Somehow.
To be fair, Scotland, I think, has like a system where you can just like buy a piece of land that like
makes you technically a noble.
That was
yeah,
that was a scam. That was the whole. You remember the whole established titles thing? That was that charity. That was like technically not correct. It has to be like there is like that rule, but it has to be like a significant tract of land, and they were advertising it as, oh, you can just buy a small portion of land, and that will technically count. You have the title and such, but they weren't able to do that. That was a whole legal video about that.
Oh, fair enough. Then
yeah.
That's kind of lame, but okay.
Yeah. All right. We're planning to do that anyways. No, we're not. I'm gonna give it gravity. If I can give it how that works exactly.
We are firing.
Introduce black holes everywhere.
And this is how we enter the next cycle of the universe, everybody.
Wait, I'll get help. Wait, girl, you're in a force field, and you can't teleport.
Yeah, you're getting help from. Oh, I guess now she can transmit at some frequency.
Okay.
Are you there? Actually, to be fair, one thing that can travel through space is radio waves because they're part of the light spectrum.
Yeah, there is one thing that can travel through
Kitty
space.
Pop, what's wrong, Nah?
Please don't bring more people into space. Last thing we need is more people in space.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. The default solution to a Pops problem when this video was made was,
Call a friend.
yeah, call a friend, and then they're not affected by whatever is preventing you from teleporting, so they can bail you out. That is how most problems were solved at this point in the franchise.
Oh yeah, I
As in, like,
remember
irony,
like
chronologically.
I remember the My Little Pony episode, which was like, oh, we're stuck in the show. How do we fix it? Alert Majesty at once. Let's get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
But Pinkie Pie
Majesty
is
is
sad.
actively preying on your downfall, guys. I hate to tell you. She's not helping. She will say that she's helping. She will never come in time because she never started arriving.
Oh no, we can't leave now.
She's
Pinkie
the one who
Pie
says
is
that she's
sad.
5 minutes away when she hasn't left the house yet.
That's so true.
Someone trapped us in Sorry.
Someone trapped us in space.
Her name's Majesty.
Wait, what's wrong, Nah? Angel and I are on the way, Nah.
They're about to see
Stop
Angel.
that. Aiden.
Yeah.
That's
my Kai impression.
Have you trapped us? Oh, it couldn't be the villain you're out here to stop, could it?
Maybe, if they aren't out to stop a villain, because, again, anyway, I am Fornax.
I thought it was Fox Knox, but that's not what that says.
Apparently it's not. Simply because I was bored. Honestly, I live in space.
Wait, what? That's your villain plan? I was bored, so I decided to trap you and try to kill you?
Aiden, if I lived in space, I'd get bored too.
Aiden,
I wouldn't do this, but...
Aiden, aren't you a DC fan?
Well, they don't. They normally have a plan for like money, revenge.
Do you
or
have
something.
any idea what Joker fights for?
That's
Joker-
different.
I think even
He
knows
just
what
got.
fights are all the time.
Joker doesn't get bored. He just has a weird relationship with Batman. I don't know. It's
That's
fine.
Yeah,
very
okay,
I feel
sure,
like
he's
he does
madly
get
in love
bored.
with Batman, but also he just kind of does stuff, man.
Yeah, but he's not the Joker. Okay, listen. Villain motivation 101. Give them
I
actual
had a very
plan.
cursed image of Joker singing a parody of the Peaches song, but dedicated to Batman.
He's so
Bats,
good.
bats, bats, bats.
You
bats,
have no
bats,
idea.
I feel like
How
that. I
much-
feel like Batsy or something like
You have
that.
no idea how much
Yeah.
canon Joker, like DC comic Joker, has a thing for bats. Okay,
Okay. so-
Like,
he
Joker
is
is very
the
gay for
definition of a
Batman.
one-sided relationship.
No, but okay, so going to like villains in like more, I guess, cartoony shows
Unlike-
like this,
Unlike
even
Marvel,
shows
that
like
was
Power
brought out
Rangers
by Disney,
itself
DC is
at least has a reason why the villain goes after them. Like it's normally to kill them so they can take over the world, and yeah, that's a very thin motivation, but it's still a motivation. This is just weird.
I don't know. I don't think it's that bad.
I mean,
Like-
I mean, the only time I find a villain doing it out of pure boredom is if we're dealing like with a weird reality warping trickster kind of villain, where it's like, oh yeah, I just want to play around with you.
Seems like story. It's a bit like Story Lord. Your motivation is motivation.
That's not a
I will say,
motivation.
that
That's
is-
like the Madam Web motivation. Madam Web
That's
villain.
something that
I
I
don't
that
want
re-
these women to kill me in the future, so I'll kill them now. Okay, why do they want to kill you? I want to kill them
Because
before
I
they
tried
kill
to kill them in the
me.
past. Is that why?
That
Like,
is
he
something
he
that
did like
I've always-
why? Was it because you're evil? Did you do something? Do you want world domination? Like what did
No,
you
it's
do
because
that made
I'm-
the
it's
Spider
because
Women want to kill you?
It's because I
In the
time
first
traveled
place.
into the past and tried to kill them beforehand, so they band together and wait a minute. I just realized something. it's like
yeah,
it's like
just
the
like,
you
that's
know,
not a
time-
motivation. That's just stupid.
I
That's
mean,
like
it's
half a motivation.
it sounds like
It's
like
half a-
Nightmare Time. You know, the one with where Ted like travels back in time.
Yeah, KW.
Well, that was more or less completing a loop.
That
but,
did happen,
even,
by the way,
Even
KW.
still, like, what caused the loop in the first place? Because in that case, like, a Eldritch demon thing caused that loop to happen. In the case of something like Madam Web, what caused the loop for the main villain? Like, we just know the Spider-Man want to kill him, so then in the present, he wants to kill them before they could kill him in the future. But we don't get why they want to kill him there, unless him wanting to kill them. But it's like, But why would they want to kill him in the first
There
place?
is the
What caused that
there is the
future to
possibility.
exist?
There is the possibility that the protagonist in both cases wouldn't know, and so they wouldn't be able
Yeah.
to tell you.
Well, the villain wouldn't know. The villain clearly never elaborated, which I know I got annoyed with that. It's like that. It's
I mean,
a
if they don't
weird.
know, there's not really much you can elaborate necessarily. But
Yeah, but it just feels fault in the writing.
imagine having a I some one of my villains for Pretty Cure Elemental. Ah, okay, yeah, that's still a thing that's happening.
There was also a fun moment in the comics KW in the main continuity where Joker
I
went
think
to
there's a villain, the Thundermans, by the way, that has that motivation.
That's true, yeah. Thundermans. That can go into a whole other rabbit hole that we probably shouldn't get into, but I'm intrigued in seeing how that movie goes. But no, there's a moment in the comics, in the more recent comics, anyways, where Joker goes to Metropolis because he is bored of dealing with Batman, similar to the Injustice story you're referencing, except in this one. Except in this one,
He doesn't kill
Superman is not
Lois.
nearly that easy to manipulate, and just starts toying with Joker, and then starts carrying Joker away, and is like, Joker's like, "What are you gonna do? Kill me? You won't kill me. You're Superman." Superman is like, "No, I generally do good, but I'm not Batman. I don't necessarily have any qualms about killing people. I just don't necessarily need to. Maybe close your mouth." And then he went back to Batman and he said, "Okay, I know he just left. If you let him get back to Metropolis, I'm killing him. He's not coming back."
Fair.
I don't control what the guy does. When he decides to go back, what am I supposed to do?
Later on, it was revealed that Batman knew exactly what happened and was just trying to test Superman to see what he would do.
Of course he was.
Okay, but like in general, I don't think a villain doing it just because they're bored unless you really set up the character in an interesting way. Like their boredom is because maybe they're a cosmic entity, maybe it's because
Oh god, that's the Collector, isn't it, from the Owl House?
Yeah, but he's more about playing games and just having fun, but being kind of like not realizing mortality of humans.
He was also massively manipulated, might I add. It
And
wasn't so much
bored.
like he wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily doing it out of boredom. He was doing it out of a worldview that was a complete lie that he was convinced of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, I compare this a lot to the Beyonder in the Marvel TV show Moon Girl. So, basically,
Man,
he's
what
a
a
cosmic
deep cut.
entity with a lot of power that messes with the main character, Lunella. Just kind of because he just kind of does it. He's a chaotic entity. He just plays around. Like,
I wanna have some villains one day in the Butterverse, specifically in the comics, that just kind of show up and do stuff one day.
I mean, that does seem very golden age of you, so yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, I personally think villains with a lot of power, like just playing around with the heroes, but still being antagonistic force are interesting ones. It's just this one doesn't seem very interesting. It just feels like I'm evil for the sake of evil, and I did this just because I was bored. I don't want to
Okay.
kill you. I just did it because I was bored. I don't care.
I'm gonna say,
okay.
I'm
Are you
gonna say
try
this
to kill
right.
them? Keep them
I
around?
think this
torture?
character I think this character would be perfectly fine if he had a more fun personality. Because I think that's what people were big fans of with Megamind, right? I get Megamind had a motivation, all that, but if you removed it, not much would really be removed, right? He had such a fun personality in the way they played with his ego in the form it manifested and stuff was such a fun way that he could do stuff because he wanted to, and it would be great just because he's just a cool character to listen to.
Yeah. Also, look, I'm sorry, okay? I know I broke the rules. I also promised to hang out with Aiden earlier today and wasn't able to do so.
Yeah.
That's also
But okay, so yeah, I mean, I just one last thing. I do agree with what BB said there. If this character had a more fun, maybe chaotic, more like maybe playful, maybe even mildly threatening, I don't know, had a more interesting personality, something more to him, I would be like, oh, he
yeah, we
doesn't have
just
a
met him.
motivation
He's like
for it.
one scene so far, so we might need to come back to that one.
Just met this character. Don't judge him so harshly.
But his opening lines come off very generic and very boring. So listen,
It
Like,
doesn't bode well, admittedly. But
it's
I
also
guess we will see.
when writing a character introduction, you got to make sure you give a strong character introduction to them.
Yeah, that's
Like
fair.
people tend to like be like, oh well, they'll be more interesting down the line. No, they gotta be somewhat strong when you introduce them. The only time having a semi-weak or semi-boring introduction works is if that's the point. They're meant to be boring, but they get a lot more interesting down the line because you don't realize there's depth or something like that.
Oh
But
yeah, we
but
have
in
one.
this
Gibby.
case, but in cases like
Gibby.
this, it's probably a lot. It would be best if you would put your best foot forward rather than being like, they don't need a spectacular introduction, because they do. You gotta get us hooked immediately. Because if you don't hook us, it's gonna be hard to invest yourself long term enough, or at least in enough scenes where it's like, I guess I like them now.
Yeah,
And even then, that bad introduction is always
like,
gonna hurt the character.
Jacob, Aiden,
Yes.
spoilers for Monster Compendium. We have a character introduction where a girl is literally kicking a door down and dragging her friend inside.
That's a great introduction of a
Yeah,
character.
I will say, yeah. I can't utter a word about any examples because of how close it is to release. But for my introduction comics soon, I'm following a lot. You have to follow, I think, for a character introduction, and this is the logic I'm kind of following, you have to follow in a very similar way that you have to follow like a pilot, right? Like you have to hit certain marks with it where it kind of solidifies in a very short time frame. Like, is this like just baseline, is this good or bad for a character? You need to have them do something crazy to really like wow the viewer or reader or player or whatever. Because if you don't wow them, they won't come back for more.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I just need to I'm just going to address this comment here. Me over here didn't say anything why Alexander is bound to get more interaction with him. Yeah, the difference was that Alexander by himself was already intimidating and powerful. I mean, even just like the mere suggestion of him in books, particularly. This, by the way, Alexander's a character in Misfits. In case anyone has missed that context, in books, particularly, you get away with building up your main antagonist a lot more, especially through mentions. If you think of Lord of the Rings, Sauron never shows up physically at any point.
I mean,
that's an extreme example, but sometimes it does take a while before you have to build up the entity
I
itself and you
personally
present yourself
think
later.
building up a villain through mentions, foreshadowing, hints, and stuff like that is a very interesting way to build up a villain, especially if all that's good. Like, build up how intimidating, how powerful.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to all come from the appearances necessarily.
Yeah.
I
And
think
that stuff could be really good.
I think that comes down to its root to one of the core mantras of horror, and one of the things that Lovecraft coined, right? Which is like the biggest fear is like fear of the unknown. So especially for villains, that sort of works, where it's like, oh, did you hear about this? Or like the guy with like said epithet or whatever.
Bottom line, buy Misfits.
Hi, Beanie.
I just want to bring it up. You also could do something interesting in those scenarios where you subvert everyone's expectations. You say build up someone as evil, cruel, and all powerful, but then maybe they come in, they're like kind of jokey, they're super powerful, but they're jokey, they're like lighthearted, and you don't see how they build up. And it could be either a misinterpretation of what everyone thought of them were, or maybe they really are like that, but you don't realize it at first. And again, like, you could also play people's expectations by building things up, by saying some stuff, and then when you actually meet the person, whether or not they meet those expectations, it could be interesting, where it's like they don't, but something about them's off. So yeah, narrative writing.
Yeah, raising questions versus raising answers. Both of them are definitely important in storytelling.
Yeah.
Okay, he was there at the Blue Swap celebration when Andromeda betrayed us.
Yes,
I was. I guess that does probably mean he's human, most likely.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Cookie. I was saving you.
No, looky, Cookie.
Oh, there's an actual Cookie. That's one of his name, Cookie. There. I'm like, wait, what? What are you
Yeah,
eating?
no.
Are you talking to a friend?
Yeah, it's cookie pop. It's a different.
I wouldn't be surprised. Okay.
Dude, I didn't even notice the cookie until you you guys were
Yeah.
talking about for a second there. I'm like, who are they calling
Yeah, who are they
the
calling
character
cookies? Like,
cookie? I don't remember them saving him. And then I finally saw the tiny little JPEG of a cookie.
the little cookie JPEG in the corner.
Well, I'm
Okay.
contractually obligated to say this. Classic Earth pop.
Sorry, Cookie, I was saving you.
Let's go.
Let's go.
What? Yes, throw this. Throw it.
That's
slowly.
not how that works.
Okay,
mean-
okay.
Okay, if you consider the idea that someone can throw something and thereby generate
But
But you're in a
force
force field.
push it
You're in
forward.
a force field.
Yeah, there you go,
That's fair,
force field,
yeah.
exactly. So you generate the
No,
force
you're
field.
in. You're being. No, someone
Yo,
put
you're
force
that
field
should've, like,
around you.
bounced
It's like
back.
a bubble that you can't escape. Why is an object doing it? The only way
That
that
should
would
have
work
bounced
at
back, but
all
even
is if like the force field was only made so your DNA can't pass through. Asteroids, they can pass through. Anything that isn't you can pass through.
so
Yes,
I,
but cookie-
I agree that should have bounced back at Earth top, but
Yeah,
but
no, it
even,
would've
but even
blasted
if it
back.
didn't, even if we say that she was able to throw this, it should not be moving that quick.
No, it should
Well, again,
not.
it depends on
Like,
like,
It
how much
should be
force-
like you're drifting off in space away from her.
Okay,
No,
but bear in mind,
actually,
consider-
if you
consider how- because consider how much that how if she's able to generate the force, whether through her powers or through sheer bodily abilities, then it technically will be able to propel itself forward straight ahead and then not have any wind resistance or anything to counteract it. So until it collides with the target, it would just maintain that speed forever. Is my
It
but
will
how was
maintain
she
that
supposed
speed
to get it?
forever.
How was she able to get it past the force field?
That's we don't. Well, you said anything that's not them can pass through. So
No, I said that's a hypothetical. If I was building up a story and lore, then I would do something like that. But this isn't me.
Is this
I
on?
take a lot of care into my and the concept of magic and how certain properties work.
Yes, Aiden. But we're talking about the pop series, which has the vanilla pudding of all magic systems. It is super
Yeah.
soft. And I'm also going to say that cookie shouldn't be moving as fast as it is, or at all, because it's in zero gravity, and in zero gravity, things move very slowly. Even
Also-
people move very slowly in
Also-
space.
Unless you're a pop, apparently. But Bon, I do like the idea that she has jack shoulders. I like to picture Earth Pop in her spare time plays football.
I mean, you could also consider the fact that they are magical entities and say that, this could be, my voice gives me super strength, for example.
I like the idea that she's just a jock.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, that would
Wow.
be more
Okay,
interesting.
this is one
to-
thing that he would be more difficult to do. Dodging it. Dodging is more difficult than throwing the cookie
That
itself.
cookie's huge.
Also,
now.
It's because
That
it's
would
close
be
up.
great.
It's string.
It's
Yes, it's that
That's
perspective.
There
a
you go.
tasty looking cookie, though. I'll admit. Why is it speeding up? Wait,
I'm afraid
you saw
I
that
can't.
you accelerate,
yes,
right?
Sped up. And
You
went back.
Yeah, I
Accelerated.
didn't know things could accelerate in zero gravity.
Yeah, no,
They
they shouldn't.
can't.
That part I've got no excuse for.
It accelerated.
That happened before, by the way, with the pops themselves floating around. Ghosty and Aiden missed that part.
Oh,
No, Bon, I don't. I don't
Oh, we're
think
talking about
it
this
would've-
here. I mean, unless the cookie itself is the force field is made out of ozone, that wouldn't be applicable here.
Yeah, I
Anyway.
don't think the ozone layer is here.
I'm afraid I can't do that. To be honest, he probably just caught the cookie, but that too.
Also, I can't.
Also,
do that.
his boots are
Afraid I
inconsistent.
can't do that. Like, that's a reference to something. Probably not, but
I think 2001: A Space Odyssey. I'm pretty sure.
yes,
Okay.
that was an unintentional reference. Like,
I mean,
probably unintentional.
Well, maybe I don't know because we are in space right now. It could be. as well the quintessential space movies. I'm sure that Eli might have been able to see that one at some point.
Probably.
Do you think the Mermaid episode had more logic to this? I'll be honest, I've forgotten a lot of what happened in the Mermaid episode, so but it does seem I think I can play about the underwater physics in that one too, but yeah, this one definitely takes the cake so far.
I don't remember which movie it was. It might have been Space Odyssey. I don't
Physics
remember though.
me. In Soviet Russia, physics defy you.
But this definitely isn't on par with that one really popular space movie that like invented the idea of like scientifically accurate time dilation.
Lightyear, the Pixar movie. I'm kidding. It's not that one.
No, it might be Space Odyssey, but I don't know.
I just noticed how his shoes are different colors, but the shoes are different heights. Did half of them get stuck in a black hole and spaghetti it over? Maybe. Anyway, further mode episode of Dodge server. Okay, well, I'll take it up his word for it because I don't remember what happened last time. I was on a stream with Tree Pops. I didn't get a chance to watch it again. But we'll save them. What?
Wait,
We'll save them.
also, look at this background. It doesn't look like they're in space. It looks like they're underwater.
It does seem like there is a light source somewhere. They could, I mean, to my knowledge, there's no, impending supernovas that are near the Earth, which is where we established we're on top of.
Okay, so I think the background's meant to be like the sky during the Aurora Borealis.
Aurora Borealis.
Along those. And I think this is what the sky background that was used here, even though
Aurora Borealis is literally just another star,
No,
the second
actually-
closest star to the Earth.
No, here's what really happened. They got sent farther back than we thought, and they're at the edge of their galaxy.
Is it not? As I thought, I read that somewhere.
Oh no!
Because the Northern
Aurora
Lights is actually
Borealis is a light display.
No, the light
not a
display
star.
comes from Aurora Borealis. The star is what I meant to say. Like the Northern Lights themselves, read from Aurora Borealis. That's what causes them, but they have a source. That's what I've read, at least.
No.
And how do you plan
Interstellar, by the way. Interstellar was the one that invented like scientifically accurate time dilation.
I wouldn't say they invented it because it's scientifically accurate, but it's but they're the
Jacob.
first to implement it. Yeah.
The northern lights are created when energized particles from the sun slam into the Earth's upper atmosphere.
Oh, so it's still from the sun. Okay.
But no, I would say they invented it because it wasn't, as
There
far as we
is-
were aware, it wasn't a thing that could exist. They grabbed like an actual physician? No, that's a doc. That's a you know the profession. Physicist. That's it. Physicist. And was like, hey, theoretically, how could this happen? They're like, it can't. That's not how that works. And then they ran through a bunch of tests, and you're like, so good news, your movie plotline works. Other good news, we just made a scientific discovery.
Also, Jacob, there is no star called Aurora Borealis.
Yeah, I looked it up while B was talking. It's Proxima Centauri I was thinking of.
And even then, the northern lights, Aurora Borealis, only comes from the sun.
Yeah, you said that before. Without powers, of course.
No!
Also, if you're talking about, yes, this is Kitty Pop, the one that got called earlier. Kitty Pop at one point had a white outfit, but also I think changed to pink at some stage.
I hate her hair.
Yeah, no, that back the rear hair used.
Kitty Pop always had bad hair. That's consistent.
Yeah, but the
I
rear-
think Kitty Pop had like the default hair and the trail and the ears at one point. I think
Yeah,
that was right.
but the rear hair they use is supposed to have like some sort of back hair because the way it is just kind of cut off, and there's a line there when there was supposed to be some back hair
That's
that
a really
continues
bad,
that
it's
line.
a really bad trip to the barbers for sure.
Girl needs some work on
Girl,
her
you
hair.
need to fire your hairdresser.
Also, she has 4 ears.
Yep, that was always a thing too.
That probably should
Anyway,
be fixed.
there's
but
no
okay.
space up here for villains. That's I guess
There is only space up here.
I guess that was also a pun. Besides, you look just like a Cruella ripoff, and you can't stop.
What? How'd she look like Cruella?
No, not her. The
Oh,
what is
the
it
villain.
already?
I thought.
Fornax.
Oh, I was about to be like, how does Kitty look like that?
No.
Fornax sounds like a villain that should have came from outer space. That should have
Also-
came from outer
also
space.
one-
It sounds like a medication.
Also, one thing I find weird about Angel here is normally
things can be true.
like Angel pops. Angels normally tend to be associated with something like the color white. But the fact that she has like this very deep purple color is weird to me. Like you're supposed to be like Angel pop, so wouldn't it make more sense to be like more of a whitish color? Or at least like a very light purple. Like we're like
Normally,
be
you pioneer the concept of angels not wearing white in Gacha.
I mean, yeah, but a lot of the pops go by like stereotypes, and I'm just confused of why. Like nothing about her conveys the concept of an angel. She doesn't have wings, doesn't have a halo as well. Nothing about her pop costume conveys the concept of an angel.
I will say this video came out in October 2021. Who knows? Maybe Eli was secretly a Fallen Angels follower before this.
Probably not. But even then, I still make them look like angels with wings on occasion when they're not
Oh,
hiding them in some scenes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're still recognizable as what they are.
Which I find it weird from a design standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the idea of Adam running around with a halo, though.
Yeah. Okay. Fun fact: the only reasons why in Fallen Angels, why the angels and the barbers don't have halos and stuff like that, is because when I was designing the angels, I didn't know there was halos were an option, or completely forgot about them. So canonically, Fallen Angel characters, like angels, do not have any halos in the Butterverse. It's just a canonical thing now. But
They don't have halos in the Bible.
They would have had a halo if I knew.
They are,
already cemented in Canada. They don't have halos.
They are Greek inspired. They are Greek inspired angels as well, and those dudes don't have halos either, or at least the gods that resemble angels.
Yeah, I was about to say angels don't exist in the in. God damn,
They don't
exist in Greek mythology. They do exist in the Bible.
Oh no, don't worry. I know.
That's Ghosty's like major complaint with Fallen Angels the series. Though we did do our best to justify that and make it work.
We do have a lot of Greek artwork that depicts some of the gods as angelic, but there are no angels in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Yes, BB, I know. It is one of my complaints against Fallen Angels. I know you're doing a rewrite. I'm also doing a rewrite of Fallen Angels, but
I'm not doing a rewrite of Fallen
Angels.
What?
Hold on, BB. When
rewrite?
This isn't true. This is a false thing.
Trying to rewrite reality. I see.
I would love to rewrite reality. Give me the outlook.
The closest thing that I have to a rewrite is by making most things that I make just like hyper pure to the mythology as close as I can possibly get it.
Mm-hmm. I think what Ghosty is remembering is the fact that I once said that I might make like a set like a video, those people sometimes will say like, oh yeah, here's how I would have written this, blah blah. That potentially saying here's how I would have done this if this was, if this stemmed from just me alone or something like that. I think I said I was going to do like a thought experiment video one-off, and that's about as much as Forna's Rewrite has been discussed apart from Ghosty's one.
I mean,
Ghosty, now you have Kat talking about this
doing a video of how I would restructure season 1. Like all the core plot points would be intact. I would just make it congeal better and flow really well as a season.
Remove the angels.
No major plot points would be changed. It would just be better I would find a great flow way of doing it.
Yeah, as for me, my one would be where my thought process or my understanding of where the series was going to go at the start when Aiden first pitched it to me. but where I thought it was going from that direction, or a couple episodes in, not necessarily saying it would be better or worse. Just okay, if in a hypothetical parallel universe where I was in charge of fallen angels, this is how it would have looked. If it's better or worse, judge for yourselves. Not necessarily saying like, oh yeah, here's the ultimate improvement for I am the greatest. No, that's not it.
I would have tossed Abraxas as a character. I don't like him.
That is one of the things that I said. I said as well, because
Throw the
one of the things
whole
about
man
Fallen
out.
Angels was the fact there was no proper like big bad in that sense.
And now we do have a proper big bad, and he pisses me off, and I hate him. Get rid of him. Throw the whole man out.
We're working. Well, I mean, we're working on this season 2 for you.
Listen, who knows? That will be Araxis.
I think when you're talking about
season 3, possibly.
I think when you're talking about gods, that not only like here's the thing, they aren't apathetic. Arguably, they care so much that it's to their detriment. And they are so unimaginably powerful that whenever you see their true forms, you simply disintegrate. These are entities that they can shapeshift, that know things beyond comprehension and have seen stars die and collapse. They can manipulate your mind. This should not be hard to create a villain based on the Greek myths.
Yeah, we're not saying that it should be a different villain. What Ghosty and I are saying is that we like the Fallen Angels' idea of there not being a real villain. But hey, if you want to do your own rewrites as a thought experiment, go for it.
I have so many other projects. I'm not.
Like because of Abraxas, Aiden has
accidentally. I just mean just a random video.
Like, because Aiden has brought Abraxas into my mind, I have regressed into my Homestuck phase and I can't escape. Send help?
Wait. What?
Okay, here's the help. Here's the video to distract you from it.
Oh, well, that's cool facts.
And it's more accurate because these are light-based attacks, and if there's anything from this space, it's light. Space is my world.
No!
England is my city. I know every part of it. You can't get. I know every part of space. What the infinite vastness of space, all by heart. I don't
know the terminology. Apparently,
I don't believe you. Just. And also, what does it matter if you know the terrain? You're being blasted out in a.
There is no terrain in space.
Yeah, like what does it matter in this instance? It's like me saying, it's like if someone comes up to me behind me and is like holds a gun towards me and is like, haha, stay right there, hands up. And I go, you foolish fool. I know this house like the back of my hand. I have lived here for years.
Earth is my world.
It is my world. Like, I gotta say, I hate this because they don't know any of the terminology. They don't know any of the space terms. They only know the stars and nothing more. And I'm not sure if that angers me or makes me chuckle.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, it's so obvious that they just made this episode because they like stars and constellations.
Somebody say chuckle and space in the same sentence.
That's a good point. Do they like space or do they like
I know
stars?
every part of space. I memorized it when I was dead.
Oh, that's what I should do when I die. That should be my next ambitious project.
Death to the well-trained eye is merely but the next big adventure, BB.
I won't have any big timelines that I can do. I can't do content creation, presumably. I might be able to write, I don't know. But, what I can do? I can float around existence and just memorize everything.
When I was dead in space, I had a SpaceTube channel. I made videos for SpaceTube, by which I mean I recorded them and then threw the files into the vast emptiness of space.
Also, I'm going to say the Fornax is actually a very appropriately named villain because he is a constellation in the southern hemisphere.
which is where Eli is from. So presumably, definitely go back to the family reunion. There's no one left. Stop cursing my social media. Yeah, Kate has been getting Chuckles recommendations because of me. And all the clips I keep sending.
You think that's cursed? Jacob and I share a recommended tab.
Have you been getting Chuckles recommendations too?
I have in the past, actually, yes.
Yes, I've been getting a
brilliant.
lot of them. But that's before, like, that, I figured out the Legend of Evantris. I found it before you did. So I've
You were
just
the
been
OG.
here for a while.
I was into Legend of Evantris before it was cool. Much like Dewdrop Starshine. I saw the entirety of her journey. From when she was just a small, innocent Mary Sue. And then became the greatest creature in all of the cosmos.
Like, anytime
Memorized all of space with me.
anytime I bring up that I'm still into My Little Pony, my friends just send me that clip, and it makes me so angry.
What, the
My
Dewdrop
Little-
Starshine clip?
Dewdrop Starshine? Yes.
Oh.
Listen, My Little
Anyway.
Pony is amazing.
Shut
Well,
up. Let's get back into the
G4.
video.
G4 is
please.
amazing. I've seen a bit of G5, but G5 I don't like very much.
Like, that's because
My
the whole
favorite
fandom
pony
has,
is Yellow Flower.
the whole fandom has kind of
Rainbow
agreed
the
that
YouTuber.
Huh? Yes, Ghosty?
the whole fandom has kind of agreed that Generation 5 is kind of trash.
Yeah.
And for good reason. It is kind of trash. Someone who watched the entire thing, it is garbage.
I don't know much
You know-
about it. I know the music's good, though.
I wouldn't hate G5 or well dislike. It's more dislike instead of hate. But I wouldn't dislike G5 if G5 wasn't connected to G4. Like purely because they're connected but it harms G5. Like G5 could be good if they didn't directly have to feel the need to connect them. Like
Notice how the leader intimidates his companions by making what appears to be a mimicry of some sorts. It seems to be effective, as the other species stop speaking whenever the voice presents itself.
what?
Perhaps the others will learn to use this mimicry to intimidate others so they can assign themselves as leader.
I'm the alpha.
I love the idea. Oh no! Now this is obviously referencing you, Jacob, right? But I like the idea of Putter versus Jacob having this ability genuinely, and I can just picture Jacob in like the distant past or even modern day. He's just like some urban legend. He's a folklore monster.
This is sounding like the genie from Aladdin. Just constantly doing impressions, but is thousands of years old and has unfathomable abilities and connections.
Listen, he just
universe.
has.
I
he
like
just
how
has
I go, oh yeah, you're a folklore monster, and then you go, oh, it's the genie from Aladdin. I'm glad we're on the same page here, Jacob.
That's one impression I can't do is the genie. I have to watch more of him. It's been too long.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
How?
Oh,
fine, you win.
fine. You win this
Wow.
time.
How
Okay,
in the world did they win? That was the easiest victory ever. Do I just need to say mean words to you and you'll just bend the knee?
I
Is
cast
that how
vicious
this
mockery, BV.
Right? Is that what happened? What do you mean? You had all of the most powerful pops locked away, and you had two randos show up and start talking. And then you're like, oh no, you guys win. No, they didn't.
they didn't even hurt you.
They didn't do a thing. I'm not even sure they stepped towards you. Which is a miracle because you should be floating.
You know, this is how Johnny gets out of actually doing fight scenes. As soon as the villain fight,
this is Eli. This isn't a Johnny video.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. This is how this is how Eli gets out of fight scenes.
Except for the fact that Eli recently delivered the best fight sequence that
Yeah.
was in any Pops video aside from the source material. This is where she started.
He burned all of his ideas on that one video and was like, "Yep, there's the series. That's the peak, everyone. Who's ready for the next one?"
Well, this
Not
isn't.
me.
This video is like 3 years older, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, also, by the way, I just clicked on a random YouTube video on my page because it looked interesting, and I got an ad for PragerU. Kill me.
Yep, they show up, and I hate them.
No! Why me? Do not target
way,
me of all
PragerU
people. I don't.
By the way, might I say that PragerU ads appear suspiciously on all of my LGBT-related videos?
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, you see those videos and they appear as
By the
like,
way-
wow, PragerU. I don't think.
Okay, see, here's the thing. Consider this as a silver lining. They're paying a bunch of money and completely wasting their time on the exact wrong demographic.
Yeah, but I don't want to be
That's fair.
right in their existence. It's like
That is so fair.
It makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit.
I still remember that one.
Please support us, please, please, God, please.
I still remember that one ad where they tried saying that racism doesn't exist.
Oh God! Oh, wait, that was an ad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
that
had
was
they had a
mad.
black man and a white woman, I want to say, sitting back to back, and they were talking about how they were always taught about this racism thing, but it was all just propaganda by the liberals.
They're not even facing each other in the video.
I'm pretty sure they're back to back.
Was that something they wouldn't see each other, so they wouldn't have any preconceptions on what they would say to each other?
I have no idea. I didn't go through the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Then.
Anyway,
Actually, I take that back. I think I did once, and then I decided that because admittedly, it piqued my interest a little bit.
That seems like kind of like ad that Jacqueline Glenn would recreate as a parody.
Yeah.
By the way, Aiden, Jacob,
Bro.
Phoebe, I put something. As soon as you guys said vicious mockery, I couldn't help but to think of this video.
Is this the Tom Cardy song?
Yes.
Yes,
I-
Tom Cardy.
I would
Okay,
watch
yeah, I can't play that on stream, but
Yes,
I
I
have seen
know.
it before.
I will watch that after we're done because we're doing this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that
okay.
right, Aiden? Isn't
Yeah.
that right? You aren't watching videos while you're supposed to be doing.
Look,
Well,
okay,
you're
I
supposed to
just
be
like
an
to
entertainer,
scan
right?
through my
Anyway.
I'm scanned through my YouTube. Okay, I
Anyway,
just scanned through my
let's
YouTube.
watch the pops. Let's get
Mhm.
back to that. Let's.
Yeah.
This guy
Let's
has fallen
pop
into
off,
the easiest
fam.
trick in the book.
Let's pop off.
Essentially, the pops looked at him and said, "No, swiping, no swiping," and now he is defeated.
Villain,
Yeah,
no
he just got
villainy.
bullied into submission, is what just happened.
That's like every villain at this in this time period of the franchise. Like 2020, 2021, Pop's derivative works, most of them end up looking like this.
He got told that he looks like a Corello ripoff, and he decided, "Yep, you beat me. You win."
Mm-hmm. But I still have some tricks up my sleeve.
I thought you were leaving. I thought they defeated you.
Yeah,
That was nope. I'm still here.
Oh my god.
Oh no, he is going. This won't be the last time.
Oh, it won't be last time you see me. Okay, never mind. He's like, I will get revenge.
He's doing. Yeah, he's doing like the Hawkmoth speech that adds nothing to every episode.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, Ladybug, you may have defeated me, but I'll make you dance.
But
to
I
death."
shall get my revenge of astronomical proportions. I'll be back again.
Or they can blast you and kill you.
There you go. He just flies off. No other acceleration. Nothing. Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
Good.
okay,
He's finally gone.
You just got here. How are you saying finally? Anyway, now let's go back to Earth. I'm not sure I particularly like floating in space. They're smiling more now than they were at the start of the video.
what?
But I want to see the planets. I think that might be Mars over there.
No.
How
don't
close
go
are you
through
to
the
Mars?
Not very. They are on top of the Earth right now. I don't know if you can see Mars that clearly,
What?
but it would look like a star from this distance, most likely.
It looked like a little dot. Like, do you not realize how far away each of the planets
She has
are
supervision.
from each other? Like, dang.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Anyway.
Supervision.
Like, they don't have to go see the planets in person. They have a
Go to observatory or get on.
I was about to say
spaceship.
invest in a telescope.
yeah. They have
Actually,
they
best
don't need
idea.
they don't need a telescope.
Or
They
teleport
have a
to
spaceship.
Mars.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, Aiden. Teleport to Mars. That's probably much easier. Yeah.
Except they can't teleport, right, guys?
I think
Right,
it'll
you
come
can't-
out probably.
You won't suddenly be able to, right?
I think they have now, because the villain is not influencing them anymore. They have now regained the ability to teleport, and they've also been rescued.
The villain in what world was the villain?
By
in
the
season
convention.
before?
By the convention of the Pops series around this time, they are rescued by their friends. Therefore, they gain the ability to escape whatever confines they were in.
Also, you see the pop with the pink and the blue, the pink bow. See the pop with the pink bow?
Yes.
You know what I think should be added to her design? Little bits of white too. You know, like little white accents.
Okay. If that could come back in later episode of my favorite series. Oh, it's like that the ending of Despicable Me, where you see the minion that was still floating around in space they never recovered.
Yeah,
Darkest joke from Illumination. Not everyone likes space as much as you, Ebony. Well, too bad. I'm the self-insert. We got a whole episode of space.
Does she like space?
But hey, I think that's Leo over there. As in, like, Leo
the constellation?
The constellation. The constellation.
I'm thinking Leonardo from the Ninja Turtles.
You know what? Yes, Leo went into space. This is one during like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcs and one in several series where they were in space.
It's not just several series. It's like in every incarnation.
Except for 87. I don't think 87 has touched space.
No, they went to space. Dimension X, I would consider.
Well, okay, that's not space. That's another dimensional plane. That's not space.
I would
space
is
space. Outer space is different than another dimensional plane.
This does make sense. Otherwise, technically speaking, we're all in space because it's everything.
We are in space.
Then they went to space in every incarnation. Then.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Regardless of how you put it in. I mean, space is a pretty big part of the Ninja Turtles.
Where is he? Oh, not him. The constellation, the lion one. Yep. Here we go. Yep. Back to that.
Like, I get the feeling
that's
that
like
Ebony
that.
Pop is just into stars and they don't know anything about the actual space.
Man, I love this episode. This episode's so interesting. This episode's great. So much character work, so much action. The effects are amazing. Best episode ever. Better than some of the ballet pops, which is by far the best pop series. But like this stuff tops all of that. Best episode ever.
Man, I love this episode just so randomly.
This is great.
It's like the times in the Game Grumps when like one of them will randomly say, "Why do you have a show? Why do people watch this? Why are you playing this game?" Whoops, I forgot.
Well, at least they're smiling. At least they're smiling, except for some of them, which are frowning because of. Oh no, they're all smiling now,
Yep.
and they all have
They're
the same
smiling now.
default smile.
Except for Ebony Pop, he's sad about leaving space.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm
At
going
Ebony
back.
Pop,
Let's
I
go.
can guarantee you don't want to stay in space, honey.
You will die.
Now, when she says she's going back down, does she mean by teleporting or?
Falling. Let's hope she does not fall. Someone would need to like bonk her on the head so she has that infinite momentum going.
Oh god, look at this. None of you know this is my least favorite episode I've ever made. Oh.
Well,
thank
you
Yeah,
know.
it should be.
This
Yeah.
like
This
Don't go
isn't
that
great.
at least one of them.
I
Yeah,
agree.
it's not
I
great.
agree, Eli. I agree with you.
Okay. You know, well, I'll get to that in the final thoughts.
And And that's a cool transition.
And now it's time for final thoughts. Okay.
They didn't even go back to Earth.
So, as far as we're aware, they still can't teleport.
There are more episodes after this, so
Nope,
very
this is
much-
where the series ends. They are stranded in space.
the next
They-
episode they're
If
back on Earth.
nothing else, they at least starve to death.
Yeah.
And here's Bond's last round of puns. All the other girls have been to the moon and back. I hope they take a meteor shower afterwards. Haha. You peaked
They
with
definitely
comment.
went to the moon.
They didn't go to the moon. There was no moon.
I don't know if they came back.
I hope they take a meteor shower afterward.
The
Fun,
rest
I
of the
hate
series just
dog.
takes place in space.
I wouldn't mind that.
Josh is asking for pros and cons.
It's
Oh,
not
that's-
good, and the space is
Space
bad.
Oh, Space Pops, that'd be a good one.
I guess
Oh,
you
you know what would be cool, actually? And I know this probably isn't where this is going, but I really like the idea that they really can't
I know.
teleport back. And apparently, because apparently it can accelerate and decelerate here, they have to, like, progressively make their way back to Earth, like, by themselves. And along their way, they have to face, like, new enemies and stuff.
Oh, that could be like the movie, you know, the movies that go just into the show. You're just that, the end of the season. Except this is not the end of the season, but if this had been the season finale, then that could have been a good movie to bring them back.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to make Space Pops now. That idea's been planted that in my head now. Just gonna shelf parody pops because I can make original songs for Space Pops and not be team. Oh, and not even DB Pies, so we have to be a separate channel because it's not Butterverse. Never mind.
We have superheroes in the Butterverse. You're allowed to just make superheroes.
No, but if we're connecting it to this franchise, which is sort of the idea, then
Oh,
and also including Majesty, the Totally TV character, along with
Sure. I mean,
Bond and
if
such,
you
then
are
yeah,
adamant
Pops.
about connecting it to established pop lore,
If you want to
fine.
make space superhero, yeah, the whole point is
Right.
there's a Pops related thing.
you do know there are a lot of canonical nymphs that exist in space. You could just have them form a superhero group.
Canonical nymphs that exist in space. I mean, well, yeah, but again, if we're talking about specifically tying this to the idea of a Pops derivation.
Oh
then it
my
would have
god,
to
the
be-
idea of them finding a dead nymph when they go to Mars one day after exploring the frozen ocean. It's just
No.
a dead nymph.
No. Pros and cons of this episode, they went to space,
Did they?
which is a pro. But the con is that they obviously don't
horribly.
have very much knowledge about space or gravity or anything outside of Earth's atmosphere. Which
They
just
went to
causes
they
them feed-
a world called space that didn't obey any of the laws you might expect,
Mhm.
and then
That
they
doesn't
got
make sense.
stranded there.
Also, this episode was just generally really boring.
Yeah. Also, by
It
the
was
way, Aiden was totally
uninteresting.
right about assuming that character is gonna be boring. Man, he sucked.
Yeah.
Like, they just said, hey, stop being evil. And then he was gone.
He said no, but also you beat me because you said words in my general direction.
I dodged all
Not
of
that
your
that means
attacks, but
anything because direction is meaningless in space.
I dodged
but, you
all of
know.
your attacks, but however, the force field that I was randomly disappeared. I guess that means I'm done. I can't make another one.
It's just
I can't be
God.
bothered. I have one more trick up my sleeve, but I won't show it to you. Have a good
Mm-hmm.
day.
and like the things with the Pop series as a whole is if you can't do great visuals and stuff, what I feel like you could do for a lot of the Pop series is give good character writing, drama, or something like that. So even if the action isn't there, even if you're not able to do the greatest visuals and stuff, if you have interesting writing or something that I could get out of it, that's one thing. But this episode, I can glean nothing. None of the character writing was very interesting, and it just didn't work. Not to mention, we had so many pops in this episode, but I feel like barely any of them did anything.
Yeah, because they have the issue of there being too many pops as of the series. This is obviously before I started reviewing the series, and I kept on telling people, don't make the groups too big, otherwise you run into the issue of having too
What
many.
they could
And that's
do,
probably
That
also
should-
partly why Ballet Pops only has 4 members, and that's one of the smallest pop groups that we've had in any of these.
That shouldn't
I
be
mean,
an
what-
issue,
They'll come
though.
in cheaper
At
than
least
Just Pop.
that shouldn't be an issue, though. At least in action, like the amount of like cool like team up attacks and stuff you can do, or in like the cool team dynamics, you could play around with that so much.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that depends like on like the level of writing ability you have, because like
And the duration of each episode and the series itself.
writing
Like-
groups in general can be hard because you have to give each group something interesting going on, or some like maybe like, for example, giving them all more dynamic personalities. Okay, so like let's take Mrs. Dicer for example. When I write that,
Or
like,
ballet pops.
each of the yeah,
Mrs. Dicer
well,
has
there's-
one more person.
yeah, Mrs. Dicer
Yeah.
has one more person, but like the point is like each. Like a lot of the cat classmates have different dynamics of each other. They have more standout personalities. They have some interests. I try to make each of them more defined, so they don't get lost in they are a group, they are a class, they are a group, they are a collective. That's all they are. Because comparing it something to like something mainstream like Wish, you have the 7 dwarfs like allegory characters. They're like seven characters that are not the dwarves, but they have the exact same. Each one of them has a tribute of the dwarf, like Sneezy, Grumpy, etc.
Vaughn, I didn't mention.
But like
my
the
series.
only one that stands out of that whole group is the Grumpy one. But that's only because she's like that proper best friend, and she actually has lines and screen time with the main character to stand out. Because the rest just comes off as a group. They're just a group, and they're not individuals. They're not people individually.
I
They
can
are
say-
a collective. That's
I
all
can
they
s-
are.
I can say that the Ballet Pops feels like the only pop groups we've seen that has an actual group dynamic, and they actually bounce off each other relatively well.
And they take advantage of the fact that even the episodes are roughly the same duration because there are a few people to focus on. They get more time to breathe. The reason I recommend shorter pop groups for the pop series specifically is because most of the time the episodes don't end up being more than 10 minutes long. And the seasons themselves don't end up having more than, say, like 13-ish installments. That's not much time per character. And the more that you add, the worse that it gets. So yeah,
But
Eli has very much learned from this, and this is
also
probably
a thing
our
that a
issue.
lot of pop series could do is they could pull a Justice League. So in the show Justice League, there were
Yeah.
the main 7. That's a lot of characters focused on, even though those episodes were like technically 2-part or like 3-part. No, they were 3-part, 8-hour-long show, right? Pretty much.
Already
So-
seeing the difference here.
Yeah. But here's the thing, even in the writing of that, they always had 4 characters to be focused on, because they pretty much wrote out 3 of the characters, or had 4 characters to be focused on. And they all had
Okay,
defined
yeah.
personalities and stuff. But I mean, what the series could do is maybe hypothetically write out a few of the pops per episode and focus on a handful. Maybe the other pops are dealing with another issue somewhere, or maybe there's something else going on with them and they're not able to
Oh
make
yeah,
it for
2
the
like
mission.
adjacent episodes to themselves. So you could that technically speaking, you could like pair up 2 episodes potentially and have like the splits, and they take up at the same time, and then they connect. I would say A plot, B plot, not enough time for that. So episode A, episode B.
A plot, B plot, if the episodes are longer. But if you want to keep the episodes the same length, split it into 2 separate episodes. I'm kind of gonna do something similar with a future episode of Mrs. Dicer, which is like, what was it, 6 and 7?
I
don't know.
will note.
It's like a
that-
future episode. I do have that concept of basically dividing the cast up, but the episodes take place simultaneously.
If you want to get real ambitious, what you could do is you could have one episode focused on group A and then the next group B, and you could
Yeah.
have the third episode that like connects the 2 groups again, and there could be like a through line between all 3. And so that could be like a new gimmick.
I mean,
maybe.
that
Not
could
not be
work.
a new gimmick at this point. This is all hypothetical
Yeah.
of the retroactiveness, because obviously
Yeah.
Ballet Pops has pretty much perfected the structure that Eli.
But also,
tried.
Ninja Turtles did something interesting in that kind of like that, where basically each of the Ninja Turtles got teleported to a different time period / dimension. I think it's been a while since I've seen that. But
They
basically,
do it every incarnation. Yeah.
But basically, each episode focused on a different turtle in said scenario they got put into, and then they ultimately got connected by the ending, by like the last, I think, 2 episodes, bringing everyone together where they all get sent back home, or they get sent to fight the villain and they beat the villain who caused them to be put in that scenario. But each episode was focused on a turtle in whatever scenario they got placed in. Like, I think Donatello got placed in a world where, like, it's the future and everything got apocalyptic and terrible. It was a horrible situation.
Is that are you sure you weren't merging 2 different things?
Nah,
Well, actually, wait. Which
2003.
incarnation is this?
2003.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Either way, his point is that they did a thing. They featured a different turtle per episode, and they eventually connected them, and that could potentially have benefited here. Doesn't matter which incarnation it was.
Well, I'm just saying because Ninja Turtles, with the way it did this, I did a whole rant on Twitter. I'm not repeating the whole thing, but I think Ninja Turtles has kind of perfected what it means to make a reboot, because they pretty much recycle the exact same elements over and over and over again endlessly. They're pretty much the exact same story every time, but just to like the different scales of these elements and slightly reordered. And it's kind of amazing because you just do that and then you mix with the tone a little bit, and it's like perfect. But also, all of those elements that Aid mentioned was also in like a bunch of other versions, and the one I was thinking of had that elements, but it wasn't like the post-apocalyptic thing was not connected to the time travel thing. But they both existed separately.
Okay, so anyway, we all get what Aiden's point was about. Okay, so I guess, last bit, my final thoughts. To quote Avatar: The Last Airbender, to paraphrase them, horrible, shameful, I'll say, but the effects were decent. But what I mean by that is I'm remembering not necessarily the mermaid episode itself, but I remember like the general feel of season 1, where this kind of random thing happened most of the time anyway. We weren't really clear on what the general plan was, and there wasn't much of a build-up towards it. The difference, of course, here being we're in space. And on top of that, even though I do maintain what I've been saying for years, that if you have to choose writing or visuals, not that you should, but if you have to choose one or the other, always go with the good writing, because that will make that stand out that much more. However, when we're comparing stuff to other bad episodes of Jazz Pops, of which there have been many, it's sort of 3 seasons now, so then this one at least does something a little bit better by having, floating cookies, the first forays into keyframing, not the first, but some of them, and at least a little bit more of ambition.
You know what I'll say, actually? And this is kind of insane, actually. That cookie shot, as you see it floating towards him, might be the single best front shot I've ever seen out of a single gacha thing we reviewed. I'm gonna be honest, out of anything, this might be top record. That cookie shot, seeing it float towards him, might be top of the ladder.
Actually, you know what? That is a fair point. So at the very least, you get some points for technical creativity here, at least from me. Story-wise, pretty much the same as everyone else. And I think with that, we have arrived at the end. So we're gonna the perfect front-facing sprite no one saw coming. Yeah, just don't have the Gacha Cat be the thing that is facing the front. And actually, being in space would allow you to play around with directions a lot more easily anyway, without having to worry about the customization of backgrounds. You could just say, okay, this is the front view now, rather than the back view, because front and back are relative, and the sides.
Well, the thing is, even in that shot, I want to say, if not, it was at least a side view, but I think it might have been front view. The Fornax was in the background of that shot, remember?
Well, yeah. Yeah, he was still facing the sides, but he still dodged to the side, so he could clearly tell which way he was facing. The one thing that Eli has done in the past, and I think Johnny also, was that they sometimes will try and like have the characters, instead of like being to one side of another, before they could do camera angles, they would do that. They would have them pretend that they are facing one another, you know, from either side of the camera, but that because of the limitations of backgrounds, they tend to be on the same background, which meant they had to disintegrate themselves every time they wanted to do a jump cut. In this situation, that was not necessary. Again, take advantage of the setting. Also, just like be known that the Angel character was from Sparkle Pops. Good to know. So there you have it. Not the worst thing, but definitely not the best, especially when it comes to space.
Is
Please
Sparkle
do
Pops
some
part of
research
the
on
canon
space.
stuff, or is that
Sorry.
in the fanon?
What?
Is
What?
Sparkle Pops canon or fanon?
All of this is technically fanon to Totally TV, but it's canon. But they're canon to each other. So yes.
Okay,
Sparkle
well, I
Pop,
just don't know the. Well, I
if
just
Sparkle
didn't.
Pops weren't canon, they wouldn't. Angel Pop wouldn't have shown up.
There is a wider Pops universe. There are too many of them. There are too many girls becoming superheroes.
Right? Does Sparkles
It's an
Pop
epic
have
I
their
want to
own
add one now.
series?
Space Pops possibly coming this year. I don't know.
Man, I really think it was a missed opportunity to not have like a whole like space odyssey back to Earth, like spanning over multiple episodes. That could be
potentially,
so fun.
but considering the limited knowledge of space at the moment from Eli as of this video, might not have worked so well. As for the Ballet Pops, however, if they got stranded in space at any point,
Pick up a textbook.
they are currently in Avalonia, so if they have to try and find their way back without working teleportation, just saying that could actually be a future plot point.
And throw in some existentialism too while you're at it.
Sure, modern day Eli can probably pull that off. Okay, so I guess let's go watch some vicious mockery, shall we? So please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters. Subscribe if you've done so already. And on that note, until next time,